Welcome to the Beer Can Cold Podcast with your hosts Will Merritt and J.G. Van Graan, a podcast where the suction line is always beer can cold. Take it away, boys.
It is Wednesday. Doug just brought us in there, Will. We're back.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, Doug. So, John, Doug is actually the only employee we have that we don't pay. We paid $3 for him one time. He was an AI voice. It's the best employee we've ever had. So it's going well with that. So welcome back, everybody. After last week and actually after this week, it's time. And this is for the guys I work for. Zero alcohol, boys. There's nothing in it. You guys are at home. I'm not. So that's I keep threatening, right? I keep threatening we're going to do one of these from my garage, and then it's my kegerator, and it's going to be a good day.
Yeah, in my outdoor kitchen, cigars, bourbon, something on the spit, as you would say in South Africa.
That's right. So exciting episode today. Something that's near and dear to our heart, but I'm going to let John tell you guys about that in just a second. I just wanted to just give a quick update on Jonathan, and so I'm going to pop the GoFundMe in again. So John, just quickly, we have a young employee here that we brought in from the trade school. And he's kind of going trade school part-time and working with us part-time. He didn't feel well and ended up going to the emergency room and was taken in immediately. And this is about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. And last Friday night, he lost his battle with cancer. It was very, very quick. It was insane. There was, our thoughts and prayers are with the family. He's in a better place for sure. He was a believer. And so I know that the family has done all that. So actually not sucking the energy out of the podcast today. I think it's a celebration of life. And so his service will be this Saturday, but the family does need some financial guidance. So I'll pop it up on him. And this is definitely for John. So he was a good kid. All right. So John, tell us about you, friend.
So I'm a combat wounded veteran. I served in Iraq in 2004, 2005. My professional background, if you will, is I'm a general contractor and built houses most of my life until after 9/11, and kind of took a little bit of a career shift, and in the process of coming home as a injured veteran. My battle buddy and I, we were injured together. He had lost both his legs below the knee in the same explosion that I was injured in, and he needed a handicap accessible home. And so myself, the Home Builders Association, his family, our local churches, a lot of the guys we served with all came together and ultimately built Dale and his family a handicap accessible home.
Nice.
And
that's awesome.
In the process, one of the things that we realized was that there was a lot of Vietnam veterans that were helping us. One of the memories for me that really stands out coming home from Iraq, I landed just on the 25th of February in Bangor, Maine at 1:00 in the morning was the first, point in time that I touched down back on American soil. And there were 7 Vietnam veterans standing there waiting and saluting us as we got off our plane. There was no fire trucks, no ticker tape parade, just 7 Vietnam veterans. And then we fast forward, we're building Dale's house. And here again is all these Vietnam veterans. And after we finished with Dale's home, we had a little get together and thanking everybody and asked ourselves, I wonder who's helping all these other veterans. I wonder what kind of needs they have as older veterans. I mean, naturally, while injuries may heal, they leave behind disabilities and challenges, and oftentimes that involves your home.
That's right.
And when you're living with particularly a combat injury, more often than not, those are debilitating and leave you in a position of living on a fixed income. Mm-hmm. So it makes the challenge of modifying your home to suit your needs very difficult. And so Dale and I set out to start a charity, an organization that would serve all veterans from all generations, no matter where they served or when they served, whether they were injured in combat or injured in training. Most people don't realize the amount of injuries and, in fact, the amount of deaths that occur just in training
Right.
for the military. And so our organization ensures that veterans have safe and accessible housing.
Well, I want to start by saying, John, just thank you for your service. Thank you for what you're doing for our veterans. They're heroes, every single one of them. And we just joined a program through Train where we're going to start hiring right out of the service. So that they have this great program where they teach the guys, our trade for 8 weeks and bring them in. And so we're really excited. We haven't had the opportunity to interview yet, but we do have some military people that work for us. And I'll tell you, man, they're just the best employees. And just, the sacrifice you guys made. Thank you. Thank you for all that. And thank you for what you do through this. Now, are you guys just locally there in the Charlotte area, or you guys go kind of all over?
We serve veterans wherever they're at.
That's awesome.
If they're in Alaska, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, anywhere in the lower 48. We're helping veterans live where they choose to call home. That's a part of the whole idea of freedom, right? Is that sure. you get that choice,
right?
And we want to support that. And what we find is many veterans just simply want to go back to where their family's at, or they want to live near where they, their last duty station or where they received their training, right? There's some familial, territory, if you will. And so, most of the time it's pretty reasonable on where we're helping vets. But, just a few years ago, one of the most meaningful and impactful projects that I recall, and we just finished our 1500th project. And so we're, in fact, this is probably the first, on air segment that I've said that or made that announcement. We're getting ready to have a big event to announce that veteran, but the project work is now finished. But this particular veteran in Alaska had reached out to us, and at this point in time, it's like late September, early October, and he's a Korean War veteran, and so he was at that time in his mid to late 80s, and he needed a heating and air system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He had been heating his home for the last 2 years prior to that with an open flame propane heater.
That's not acceptable.
In Alaska.
Yeah, it's not acceptable.
Right? Unsafe, unhealthy, and
sure.
I think it's just like you said, it's just unacceptable. I mean, that's not the way that our veterans should be living in. And so we were fortunate to be able to partner with an organization there in Alaska and provide him a heating and air unit. And what that did for him was provided a little bit of peace of mind, because he wasn't going to sleep with the open flame propane heater on. Right? He was turning it off and then going to sleep. And then he would have to wake up cold and then reheat his home.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? When he would leave his home, he'd have to turn it off. And so it created a lot of challenges for him. And so that little bit of peace of mind, that little bit of comfort, it really goes a long way.
Right.
So that'd be a good question, John. So you guys you said you'll go anywhere a veteran is in need is. So how do you reach out? How did the communication link? So how did you connect with someone in Alaska, being that far away, or even, maybe in a couple of states away, say Alabama? So how does that process work with you guys?
It's great Americans just like yourselves that are just helping to promote good causes, that are have businesses that want to connect and do good in a community. And it's just a matter of the veteran network itself and how it communicates.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got some media partners that we had done some work with in Alaska, and they, honestly, they're local to Charlotte, the Woody and Wilcox show. They are syndicated in Alaska, and so they were talking about us. The veteran heard us, and
that's awesome.
And there we were.
Awesome.
Are you guys do you have issues finding the funding and the help sometimes? I mean, I would think it's hard to come by in any way, right?
It really is. And, great organizations, like Anderson Heating and Air are stepping up to partner and provide a heating unit. That's fantastic. And it's going to have, significant impact. But the reality is the lights on our own office, there's a cost to that.
Sure.
The computer, there's a cost to that. The gas to drive to go vet the veterans, there's a cost to that, right? So those are things that oftentimes are not something that gets donated as an in-kind contribution. So those, $5, $10, $20 a month contributions that individuals make, they fuel us in order to be able to go do the work and partner with organizations, like Anderson and like you guys with Beer Can Cold, right? I mean, it's about this network. And, I like to say it like this. While Purple Heart Homes can reach a veteran and have an impact for a veteran in Alaska, at the end of the day, John's going to come back home to Statesville, North Carolina, with my family, where I'm from, where I want to live and enjoy my life with in the community that I've built. I don't want the veteran when I leave to say, man, that John guy, he's a nice guy, and I'm glad he come and did this work for me, even though I'll never see him again. That's not what I'm looking for.
Right.
What I want the veteran to say, hey, this heating and air company, these volunteers that come out and helped with the heating and air company and helped clean up some yard work, or that the volunteers that brought some cookies, the people that come over and made contributions, my family, my community here locally in my neighborhood, they care about me.
Right.
They helped me.
Yeah, that's
they made this happen.
Yeah.
Purple Heart Homes is just merely a conduit. We're connecting the community and the veteran to allow the work to be done in a manner that the community can feel comfortable and the veteran can feel comfortable meeting and working together to solve for the problems.
Right. Well, brother, I'll tell you, if you ever run across anything in the RTP, you have my phone number for sure. We would love to help you guys out. I mean, it's so valuable, right? And it does a lot. So I'll speak from a company aspect for us, right? So to get the group of guys together here to go do something like this, we've done it in the past. It's great team building, and it kind of goes to one of our core values, which is gratitude, right? It's for us to show that we're grateful for what we're blessed with, is to go bless someone else, right? And so, absolutely, man, I think it's a great way to put it. It's like, find the community, let the community help the community, right?
Yeah, and that's why I was asking John how you guys get connected all the way in Alaska, and our network has continued to grow. We've got clients in a lot of different states across the U.S. now, and we'd love to be able to kind of maybe build this network a little bit and help you guys as well as our company. So that's why we wanted, thought it'd be great. We had our meeting this morning. I'm glad that Anderson's going to be helping with this, and then maybe we could springboard off of that in some other markets.
Well, I'll be real honest and transparent with you here. Will, I while we were on the phone earlier today, and I was like, certainly I'll jump in and do your podcast this afternoon. I had to call my PR lady and tell her, and she's like, "You're doing a podcast called what? With who?"
Okay, so we need
Beer Can Cold. It's going to be awesome. I get to have a beer while I'm on the podcast. She says, "No, you don't."
So, John, did Will explain? Did Will explain where the name came from?
I tried to explain it to her, but I'm not a heating and air guy. She said, "Do they touch the thermostat to feel if it's beer can cold?"
It was R22 back in the day. It's just, you could be way off in your charge, but if that suction line, that's the one that has the black Armaflex insulation, pull it back and grab it at the unit. And if it felt like a cold beer, you were good to roll, baby.
Listen, brother, it completely destroyed the ozone, but that was the most forgiving refrigerant on earth. I can't tell. Dirty coil, dirty filters. If that thing is beer can cold, man, it'll be all right. It'll get you through the summer for sure. I remember actually, and I'll sidetrack a little bit real quick, but my father-in-law, I changed his system out at his house almost 10 years ago now. But He had a 35-year-old Sears and Roebuck R22 system, and I tried to kill that compressor. I ran water in it. I tried to do everything just because now it's fun, right? We're going to see if we can kill it. I couldn't kill it. And I tell you, we were running half mix of water, half refrigeration, and the thing was still beer can cold. It was perfect.
Well, the copper was, a 1/4 inch thick.
Well, and it was rolled up, right? So the Sears Roebuck, they came with the houses, so it was just rolled up on a coil, shoved in the crawl space, and it never leaked. The copper was too thick.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
It's old guys industry term. I was doing a presentation last week, John, and I just said, raise your hand if you know what beer can cold is. And some of the old guys are laughing. All the younger are like, I don't know. Everybody thinks it's a beer. No, it's just it's a term. So we blindly came up with a name. Beer can.
Will did. Will came up with it. I couldn't pick a name.
Really, Sunday morning I woke up and I give all the credit to JG for getting this thing started. I literally wanted to start podcasting right before COVID hit. And it's 5 years later. He was doing it in a prior occupation, and he had all this stuff. And we're going to do it. I woke up Sunday morning, laying in bed. I said, beer can cold. So I got up and immediately started searching to see if anybody had it, and no one had it.
Yeah, it was a dead cert.
So we're good to go.
You're good to go.
That's really great.
Yeah,
I love what you guys are doing. It's really great, and this aspect of media partnership with a charity, with service providers. I think there's so many different connections there, and Will, as we were talking earlier, I think the general public may not fully understand the impacts that a donation such as a heating and air unit from an organization like Anderson Heating and Air can have.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it provides the peace of mind. It provides the physical comfort, right? Those things are priceless. I love that old American Express commercial. It's priceless. You cannot put a price tag on those things. But wait, there's more.
That's
right? It's this aspect of the increased value. While you couldn't kill those 35-year-old Sears and Roebuck units, the SEER rating on those things was like 7,
maybe,
right?
In the spring when it wasn't running, it was 7.
Right. It's just terrible. And these units now, they're so effective, and the efficiency ratings are so high that it's creating a cash savings, a cash flow savings in the veteran's home every day. And you just add up. Let's just say it's only a $10 a month savings. Well, in today's world, that's a carton of eggs, right? And then
this day and age, yes.
Right. Well, then you kind of factor that in, and you multiply it out by a year or by 10 years. It's a significant impact into a family's life.
That's correct.
And so I don't discount that. And I think the concept of the partnership being more than just a partnership between the charity and the service provider is so valuable to be able to help really get the word out and spread the message. And as basically now a 30-year contractor, I look at some of these projects and some of the different aspects of our messaging that I really want to see young people that would go into trade school, that would learn HVAC, that would learn plumbing and electrical, and they desire to be able to have a good life, and they think that sitting behind a desk is going to provide them that 6-figure job. Everybody and their brothers out looking for that. But if you're willing to work with your hands, and it's not hard work, it's manual work, but it ain't railroad work. It ain't coal mine.
You're not digging ditches. I tell my son that. I'm like, it's hard work what we do, Jackson, and it's taxing, but you're not out and doing manual labor. It's not Cool Hand Luke stuff.
But you can make a good living and live a good life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And hey, let's face it. While we might be doing 3D concrete printed houses, every one of them has 2 things. They got windows and they got heat and air systems.
That's right.
Okay.
And you're dovetailing right. You're right, and you're dovetailing right into a almost an hour-long podcast we had last week about this whole topic, right? And I think it's changing. John. I think this whole let's go to college. So let me give you a little bit of a background. I actually coach a high school rugby team here locally. And a couple of years ago, over a couple of years, me and my buddy said, listen, enough with chasing state championships. Like, that's great. It doesn't mean anything for anybody. But getting kids into college means something, right? So we started taking rugby as a vehicle, and we got the kids seen. We started out, I think at the moment, we're up to about 120 colleges that we send film to on a regular basis for our seniors and our juniors. But what was interesting was we started focusing on it, so it started happening more and more. And so it got to a point where we were getting kids into college, and then they're there for a semester, and they're home. And then they're too embarrassed to come talk to you and tell you that college wasn't for them. So our focus was wrong, right? Our focus wasn't to do the best for our seniors and juniors we can. It was just this college thing, right? So what we started doing was bringing people in from the trades to start talking to the guys on Thursday nights about the trades too. And so then we started seeing some of our players making the decision, okay, I'm going to go into trades or I'm going to go to college. And so we were trying to help them both. And this thing is still kind of evolving for us. But my vision is eventually when we go to school to sign for Susie to go play rugby and wherever, her brother signs because he's coming to work for the local plumbing department. And we have the plumber there, and he's there with his company colors on, and we do a signing and we celebrate that too, because I think that's the problem. So we don't celebrate when kids go into the trade. So I have 3 kids. One is playing rugby in college, getting ready to graduate. He owes a lot of money. My second one is in a service truck, started last year. He bought his first car cash. And my youngest, my girl is on her way to college to go play rugby. But it's like, I'm just looking at the jumping board, where they're going to start. College is not what it used to be, and I think it's changing. I think that this whole message, like the micro message, is getting out.
Well, I think, so much beyond that. I think people have this concept of a singular path career, right? They don't see the aspect of layering in a career, right? They don't see how, man, I might start off today as a heating and air tech, and tomorrow I might go learn, I might go to get my electrical license. And then down the road, I might end up having a full service, company that provides electrical and heating and air service, and that I own that company and I'm the license holder. Mm-hmm. And then eventually I might end up being a general contractor and building houses, or eventually I might even wind up working for a large corporation where I'm the supervisor over all of the maintenance. And their primary need is to ensure that heating and air is working for a 1,000 square foot or 100,000 square foot server room.
That's right.
They can't contemplate the layering of experience. Right. They think it's just, I got to go do this one thing. What do I got to go study for that I'm gonna be happy with for the rest of my life?
Right. And I think that's just, and my previous statement, I'm not saying college is bad. We need doctors, we need lawyers, we need those things. But I think it comes down to understanding yourself and understanding what you're going to be good at and what interests you, and not having the pressure from the parents to do these things, right? And so, or not just parents, but any and everybody. Oh, we lost him. What'd you do? You're muted.
It's weird how my phone is connected, so maybe my phone is my.
Wait, is he back?
Jackson was trying to bring me a beer in.
There you go.
Sorry, guys. I'm not used to StreamYard, and my phone and my computer are tied together, and my.
So is mine. Does it look like this? That's what mine looks like. Yeah. I've never seen that until this week.
And so I was trying to clear a message to make it go away so I could see the screen. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No, absolutely fine. This is.
We'll edit this. We go live Thursday night at 6:00.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll cut this piece out. No worries. So, but Will, I think the wrong mic is picking up, because it sounds like you're sitting in a toilet with the door closed.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
There you are.
Let's connect.
That's better. No. So, and we'll just start here. I'll edit the rest out. But the point is that college is not a bad thing either. It's just what's right for the right individual, and I think it is good. Now, last year, I will tell you this piece to just kind of connect back. I made a transition a couple of years ago. I was asked to take over the girls program because my daughter was coming through, and last year we had 9 seniors. All 9 of them went to college, and 6 of them went play Ivy League rugby. So there is definitely a thing here. It's just making sure the trades are represented as well, I think, is a big part of it.
Well, and you're absolutely right. I think in that same context, right? You don't have to. I think people should go get experience,
Yes.
right, to understand what they like and what they want to do, and really what they can study that can aid in what they like and do. And so even myself now, in my mid 40s, I'm now going back to school and just got accepted into an MBA program at East London University.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And so it's this whole concept of you don't have to do it in that completed linear fashion. Like, I got to graduate high school, I got to go to get my associates, I got to go get my bachelor's, I got to go get my master's, then I start working.
Yeah.
Right. There's go learn a trade.
Yes.
I mean, for me, by the time I was, 21 years old, I'd got my general contractor's license. I was, working and learning skills that, physically have benefited me my whole life,
right,
and will continue to benefit me. And a knowledge base that really doesn't change. It does evolve, but the basic concepts are standards in our society. But then there's these pieces that I realized that, now that, I would have never thought, if you'd asked me at 21 years old, hey, you think you're going to start a housing charity that's going to benefit, any
right,
subset of the population? No. Would you have asked me then if I thought I needed a master's degree to be able to run a construction company? I would have said no.
Right.
Right.
Well,
but as you evolve, you start to realize different things that you need to add to your skill set, to your tool bag,
yeah,
that can aid you in growing and benefiting yourself, your family, and your organization.
Yeah, no, you're right. And my dad had the greatest saying when I was getting ready to graduate high school. It wasn't even a saying. He just said, all right, you have one of two choices. You're going to go into the military or you're going to go see the world. And at the time, there was nothing going on in the South African military. So it was like, okay, and it was not that anything wasn't going on. It was kind of falling apart, to be honest. And so I went to see the world. And I think that's the best advice, man. Before you get married, before you get tied up, go see the world. Go do things. Go get those experiences, right? And that's how you kind of bring it full circle, because I'm sure you joining the military was a big decision, but you got to see a lot of really cool places, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well,
cool. I guess it's wrong.
A lot of places I don't care to go back to.
True.
Iraq wasn't what it was all cracked up to be.
It was a unique experience. I'll say that, and just kind of putting some of the conversation into context. I think about, our view, our worldview, and our view of the population here in America and how skewed it can be.
Yes.
When you go to a country that none of the houses have windows,
Mm-hmm.
that there's a hole there, there's just no glass.
Or grow up in a country where every window has bars in front of it. That was my experience,
Right. And then you look at, like kids, like our unit, we would write home and ask them to, mail us
mm-hmm.
clothes, shoes, soap, candy, Barbie dolls, sand toys, right? And then when we would go out into those communities, part of our mission and what we did, we were the Hearts and Minds campaign. And so our job was to go build relationships in those communities and help, gather intel to know where the bad guys were at, if you will.
Yep.
And so we would, take boxes of stuff to give away when we would go out into communities, and the number of kids that we saw that never had a pair of shoes,
mm-hmm.
or that the probably the one that got me the most was I gave a bar of soap to a kid and they tried to eat it thinking it was candy. They had never seen a bar of soap. Right. And so, these concepts of what we have as normal here as Americans, not everybody in the world has that same concept.
That's right. And that's,
we're very fortunate. And I don't think most people realize that.
No.
And, I say things, hey, it might be a little tough if we're having a bad day. And we, JG, you lost a customer, we lost a client or something like that. It's kind of bad. I'm like, well, you're not worried about stepping on an IED walking to school as a child.
That's right.
Or worried about bombing, your house being destroyed, like other places in the world. And simple thing, like you said, John, having glass in a window to prevent insects from coming in, or something like that. And having air conditioning or heating. I just remember growing up, we didn't have air conditioning. Air conditioning was a box fan in the window. That was it.
But I will say,
we were struggling or anything, but that's how it was in the 70s.
Yeah, and you're right, and that is true. But I do think even growing up where I did, and there's other places in the world too, it's like kids growing up in America today has it a lot harder than we did. Like this whole social media thing, this whole phone they're tied to and all that type of stuff. And it's not even comparable to what people on the other side of the world, I get it. But there's no more playing outside till the street lights go off, right? There's no more of those types of things. And I think that plays a lot into this entitlement thing that's going on about not understanding what's going on in the rest of the world, even though they're glued to their screens. So I think there's a big part, and we shouldn't go that deep on a Beer Can Cold podcast.
Well, I was going to say that's another hour-long conversation just by itself. Yeah. But I agree with where you're going there, JG, and the staying out until the street lights come on, and this whole idea of I was the same way, Will, that we didn't have. I remember. I'll tell you a story on what got me into general contracting. My father worked for a flour mill. And so he worked 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. We heated our house with a wood stove, and we had an attic fan, and we would open the windows and the attic fan would draw.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And so I remember when Dad had saved enough money that we were going to get a central air unit. Mm-hmm. And I remember the two men that came to our house. I can remember vividly walking through the basement with them, with my dad, and talking about the duct work and cutting the holes in the floors and, doing all this stuff and where the unit would sit and how, it worked. And I was just fascinated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And my dad gave them a deposit, and they never showed up.
Oh.
What?
And I can remember to this day how hard that was on my dad.
Of course.
And I made a decision that I would never be that kind of person that would take from a family that way when they were just trying to improve their living conditions.
That's right.
And that was what really set me on the path that I wanted to be a contractor.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I think about that today. It's like, just how we interact and how we treat people. You employ somebody, you're impacting their livelihood. But when you're in their home, you're in their most personal sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
You're impacting their lives in a way that very few people have the privilege of being able to impact them. And it's a special type of relationship. And when you do that right, people, they will remember that and they'll promote that. And I tell my people, here at Purple Heart Homes all the time, how you make people feel and how you treat people, they're going to remember a life. Yep. It's important.
Right.
And care and respect their space. And we value those partners that have the same values and look at their work in the same manner, because you don't get a second chance.
That's right.
Yeah. And we get very frustrated about, JG and I, all of us, we talk about the bar being low in the contracting world, and it could, we could all raise it up, and there's no reason it's not, but it's a stigmatism or a stigma, I should say, that the consumer has that, I'm going to be, this is not going to be a great experience, and, we'll get through it, but it doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah.
And it's important. And like you said, it's building relationships. And then if you do it the right way, people are going to stay with you. They're going to tell people about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think
I get so frustrated with poor customer service, and I'll jump off the soapbox after this. But you go out to a restaurant and it's minimal service, and you give them 20%. I used to wait tables, so I'm always 20% unless it's hard service. And it kind of like they look at you kind of almost like, oh, that's all I got was 20%, and which I get it. I'm typically now it's 25-30% if the service is good, but good experience. Like I said, people will tell that story. And
Oh yeah.
well,
good experience happen in our industry.
I'll tell you, when we find people, and we're notorious for that, when we find people like that gives good customer service, we tend to hire them. We'll bring them in. One of the really, really good salesmen here was hired because of his customer service and the way he treated the sales manager. And sure enough, he is amazing. Never worked for another heating and air company in his life, and great guy. So no, and I agree with that. And the thing is that the service industry is not dead. But Will, you guys do something, and I was going to mention that you need to invite John to it. But the next consortium, like John, so he brings a bunch of heating and air guys together in a room, even if we're from the same area, and we sit and we exchange ideas, and we try to raise the tide that raises all ships, right? So we're trying to make everybody around us better, and that's a big thing here. I was actually just conferring with somebody in email this afternoon, a local contractor here near us that wants some advice, and we're an open door, man. We don't care if you're right. There's no competitors for us. Like now hold on. If you're that one tailgate slammer that's not treating your customer correctly, you're my competitor. But if you're a good company, we love to share ideas back and forth, and I think that's a big part of it. Is that's how we raise the customer service bar in this area.
Well, the next one will be in Columbia this fall, and basically downtown Columbia, 5 Points. So Studemeyer, Michael, he's agreed to host it, but they're basically Columbia. It's not far, John. So Anderson is the last one. So
I spent quite a bit of time down at Fort Jackson, and 5 Points was where all the beer was at. Is that connected to the podcast?
Yes,
could be. So, he's Michael Gatlin Jr. He's owns Studemeyer Heat and Air Conditioning in Columbia, and he joined our consortium again. Carrie, Brian, they and Anderson hosted the last one, so we're gonna try to do it this spring. Just so much going on. The busy season's coming sooner. It's 80 degrees today, so we to the fall. But I think you'd be a great. We have in the past. We've typically had someone virtual be kind of a speaker. You could do virtual, but if you could come in person, it'd be great too. But again, I think we have a lot of connections in this business. It's my 29th year in heating and air, and we'd love to, expand this thing. And so I'm rolling back to my questions over here. So we go around on this thing here and there, and, squirrel. That's
what we do, though. We do it well.
I want to go back if we can, just to kind of make sure, because we wanted you to be the focal point of the podcast here. And you touched on it earlier, but who do you help? I know veterans, but if you just give us a little more elaboration on that, that'd be great.
Yeah, so a lot of people get confused about our name, right? Purple Heart Homes. You do not have to have a Purple Heart to receive support from our organization. We assist service-connected disabled veterans, and so we're helping anybody, no matter how you might have been injured or what your disability is from. If it's service connected, that's who we help.
Okay.
Age doesn't matter. Geography doesn't matter. We just want to make sure that, you got an honorable discharge, a clean background, and, you're not a wanted felon.
That's right.
Okay.
How can people get involved with your organization?
Yeah. Great question, JG. I appreciate you asking. It's really easy. First of all, visit our website at phhusa.org, and you can find all sorts of ways to give. You can join our Hearts of Honor Club, which is a monthly giving club where you can keep up with information about the organization. And you can join that for as little as $10 a month, and makes a huge difference, right? It's going to support a veteran. We're a 4-star rated charity with Charity Navigator. We have a platinum seal of transparency with GuideStar. We pride ourselves on doing it the right way, being veterans, helping veterans. We want to make sure that we're effective and efficient in doing so. People can volunteer to start a chapter, and make the commitment to serve the veterans in your community. And we'll provide the marketing support and the programmatic support, and our project management team will help lead you. But one of our largest chapters that we're getting ready to celebrate that 1500th project with is right there in South Carolina, over in Seneca, South Carolina, the Golden Corner chapter, where they're serving that Tri-County area. And they're knocking it out of the park. And they're a group of retirees, and they get in there and they build a ramp once a month. They're got some larger projects, maybe doing a little bathroom remodel, working with a contractor, or replacing and upgrading a heating and air system for a veteran. And we've manufactured tiny houses. They've received some of our tiny houses and put veterans in those homes. And so there's lots of ways to get involved. You can host a fundraiser. If you go online to our social media pages with Facebook or Instagram or any of that stuff, you can do a fundraiser where maybe you're walking 50 miles for veterans to build awareness and to raise some money. There's all types of different ways to do that. We had a young lady, one of my favorite fundraisers that I share with folks is, we had a young Girl Scout. She was 15 years old. Her and her sister wanted to raise some money to support veterans housing. And they wound up raising $5,000 selling hot dogs and lemonade outside of a Walmart over 6 weeks.
Wow.
Wow.
Good job.
That's awesome.
If a 15-year-old can do it,
Yeah,
anybody can do it.
that's right.
Find out if your employer matches donations. We've got a matching donation platform on our website. So if your employer matches donations, we'll help facilitate that. We're happy to do that. And let me not forget, if your company wants to help just one veteran and do that with a product like Anderson Heating and Air, where they're going to help a veteran in the greater Charlotte community and providing them with a heating and air system. Whether we're rolling into the summer or whether we're rolling into the winter, those transition periods, it's an unexpected cost. The veteran's living on a fixed income, and even just a 2-ton heating and air system for a 13 or 1,400 square foot house, you're looking at anywhere from $12,000 to $15,000. That's a huge impact, right?
That's right.
It's hugely expensive. You're right. I was wondering where you were going to go with that, John. How much
Thank
on the
you.
price? And right on.
Yeah,
You're
you're
dead on.
he's dead
I'm
on.
pretty close.
You're
Yeah,
dead
you're
on.
dead on. Dead on. It's expensive these days.
Yeah.
So here's the real question: is 2-ton the right size for a 1,300 square foot house?
Close.
All depends on the
Facing.
insulation,
Yep.
facing the sun,
Yep.
what direction the windows are. It's all those things.
But you're pretty. It's one of those beer can cold things. If it can fit within my thumb, it's a 2.5 ton. It's like that.
Yeah, those old days you get about 2.5, 3.
They don't call it a mech check anymore, do they?
Mm-mm.
They call it something else, right? The energy efficiency,
Load calcs, the load calculation.
Yeah, load cal.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be code these days.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just
So
load calculation. So,
I'm a contractor out here in Chapel Hill, and I want to get involved with you. How do I do so?
Really simple. Just go to our website, phhusa.org, or you can just simply Google us, Purple Heart Homes, wherever you do your search engine work. You can just type in Purple Heart Homes. We'll be, within top 2 to pop up, and you can contact us through our website, through our social media. We'll get you engaged. Doesn't matter what kind of contractor you are. We'll plug you in and be able to get you connected to a veteran and a project. We've got over 1,400 in our waiting list, so it's just a matter of pairing you up.
Absolutely. Very, very good. What do you guys need the most this year?
Great question.
That's
I
actually
think
Will's
it really,
question. Will typed it up. I'm just reading it.
Uh,
I
we're
said,
we're always looking for two things. One, it's the volunteer leaders to help lead projects and efforts in communities, and it's those reoccurring donors. And if maybe a monthly donation doesn't work for you, but you would like to make a legacy gift or a planned gift, a minimum distribution from an IRA, or maybe your stock portfolio, you just had a stock split and you'd like to donate some stock. All of those things are options that are available on our website. If you have questions, you can contact us directly. Phone numbers on our website where our team will walk you through any of those questions that you might have, and help point you in the right direction, or help you ask the right questions of your financial advisor, in order that you can make the best decision for yourself and your family. And we're not asking everybody to give everything. We want you to take care of your family, but just don't forget the veterans and those that provided the sacrifices for your freedom.
That's right.
well, we just wanted to have you on. Like I said, we had a meeting this morning. Like I said, we're joining forces kind of for at least one project coming up for Veterans Day. But yeah,
not,
we were discussing. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
it's not the first project. You guys have done several projects, over the years with us, and we're really grateful for it. And you guys are great partners and great patriots supporting the veterans in your community. So I don't want that to be misunderstood by the listeners. It ain't the first one.
Yeah, well, that's Anderson. We work with them as their marketing partner. So, like I said, we got involved just via Trey from WCCB. They do. They're on them pretty regularly for the morning news and evening news, John. So that this was brought about. We did the thing for, again, Veterans Day last year. So again, he brought it up. So we'll give thanks to Trey again for that. So again, we just want to get more involved. Even our marketing company. We were involved with another charity, and so hey, we've been discussing this. My business partner's a veteran.
Oh, so. Fantastic. Well, thank him for him or her for their service, and I will I'll make sure to connect you to our marketing officer and kind of get you set up there, and she'll be happy to hear the podcast and know that we're doing some good work for veterans. She's a great lady. She's all about supporting the vets.
Well, I want to do an open call here. As me and Will both come from distribution side, man, one of these distributors, manufacturers, step up. I mean, it's like, we know the margins you operate on. We know it's not always lucrative, but I know that you have a scratch and dent that you can put a new panel on and donate. And I know there's things that the distributors can do as well, and that'll be hugely helpful. Territory managers, get involved with your distributor. Find that unit you want to donate. Find your favorite contractor. Let him donate his labor, and get in this thing together. It's important. It really is. And so I want to do a call out and say, manufacturers, distributors, let's jump on this thing and let's help them out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, JG, if you don't mind, I'll just give a plug for one of our partners, one of our national partners, and they do just that. Owens Corning donates all of the shingles for any roof for a veteran project that we're doing.
That's right.
One of their platinum contractors in that community is willing to donate the labor.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so to date, we've done 250 roofs with Owens Corning over the course of the last 7 years. And those have been done all across the country. We've got one getting ready to come up in Charlotte. And it's a platinum contractor is given a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The shingle manufacturer is given a little bit. The community's given a little bit. And together, we're helping a veteran and making a huge difference. And a listener might say, okay, well, that's great. It's a roof. Well, the roof's, about the same kind of cost factor as a heating and air system, right?
Yeah.
You're somewhere, around the $15,000, range. Mm-hmm. But if your roof is leaking, then chances are you got mold in your house. If you got mold in your house, your air quality's poor. And if your air quality's poor, that means chances are your health is deteriorating, and you just don't know it. And so it's a challenge for peace of mind and good health, which ultimately causes the taxpayers more dollars when the veterans are going to the VA.
Yep.
right? So we gotta look at this in the full picture. And I love the way you position that, JG. And I would encourage, whether it's Train or Comfort or any of the other manufacturers, to look at how they can develop a program similar to Owens Corning, where they can get contractors that have a heart, even if that contractor is only willing to do one a year.
Yeah.
That they can partner together so that the contractor's not carrying the full burden by themselves.
I agree.
And typically, John, you're just right. Just similar to Owens Corning, the manufacturer will typically donate the equipment. The contractor will donate the labor and sometimes material, any other material that's needed for installation. So I think, like I said, we can push this along. We'll definitely tag you guys in social media on this and promote it some more. And we'll bring it up in discussion. Like I said, we've got contractors throughout the country, that we work with, and and so many of them are veterans, or have veterans that work with them. So we're like you. We'd like to say, hey, let's give back a little bit. We're all so fortunate where we are in this country, and let's give back to some people that help provide what we have today. Yeah,
we are very blessed for sure.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, John, I know you have a dinner date to get to, and
we're so sorry. Sorry.
No, all right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for coming
guys.
on. And so we will. We're going to push this thing hard for the next week and get out as many tickety talks and all this other stuff I'm still learning about. We're going to get it all out there, and I hope that guys reach out to you, and I know we're going to jump on your website and sign up too as the Bohr Brothers Clang here. And if you need some help in this area, we're here to help you. So thank you for coming on, and I'll let you close it out.
Yep, John Gallina, Purple Heart Homes, based in Statesville, North Carolina, doing a lot of good things. I'm gonna, I guess, be somewhat involved firsthand with project with Anderson Heating and Cooling in Charlotte coming up for Veterans Day. So we're excited about that, and excited to see if we can get some other contractors around the country involved with this thing, and just a little more exposure. I'm sure you got plenty already, John, but we'll see if we can hype it up a little more. Again, been in the business for quite a while, so we've got a lot of contacts. So we really do appreciate the time. Been great having you on. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
great evening. We'll see you guys next week.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.